Testing, 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 testing. Let me see if I can turn this up a little bit more. Testing, testing. Okay, there we go. What's up, everybody? This your man Luke 1817. We are back again for another Meetup Monday right here on WPMM Radio, internet radio station. So I already know what time it is. So I'm back again, guys. What's good with y'all out there? Hope everybody having a good Monday today. Hope everybody is somewhat living their best life to whatever degree or standard that is in this moment. And we gonna dive. So last week, as y'all know, we came on here. We're having technical difficulties, which if you've been a part of my world, then you already understand that we don't look at things from a terrestrial standpoint. Celestial standpoint. We're going to explain these things too, so you can understand what I mean when I say that. But we're not looking at this from just a 3D perspective or a physical perspective. There are things that work in the spirit all the time, so we have to respect and honor those things and be able to understand exactly what's going down when it's going down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow a little bit of time for folks to come in here. Just a second. Hold up. I'm going to allow a little bit of time for people to come in. And, yeah, so we can go ahead and take off. Because what I was going to be bringing to y'all last time, looks like I'm going to have to talk about it today. So that way it could be understood, because it's like going on or whatever, as usual. As I always say, there's a lot going on in this world, and some things are seen, but most things are unseen. And so the unseen things have to come through us through a specific way or specific avenues. And we're here to discuss a few of those avenues tonight, which we've kind of already been talking about some of those avenues beforehand, but I guess we're going to have to just go in a little bit deeper so that we can gain a further understanding or a further clarity. All right, now, if you're one of those people out there that be like, man, I don't understand none of this stuff what you're talking about, it's because it's not for you. So if you're in a space of misunderstanding or just don't get it and it won't come or it won't work or won't happen no matter how much you tune in, then that's okay. It's just not your time to understand it. Because a lot of these messages going forward is going to be predicated to specific people or specific energies or life sparks in this time, because there's no more, quite literally, we are in a space of warfare at the current moment. So, and the warfare is spiritual, and we need to understand that. And that's what this show is about. The show is about revealing things that a lot of times I want to talk about. So we talk about those things on here, and we try to make these things plain for the common everyday listener to understand. Especially those that are melanated and those that are of the descendancy of the Aborigine, which we talk about all the time. Okay, so we need to understand these things. Now, this is, well, that understanding goes from a community-based standpoint, then into a nation-based standpoint, then into a world scope standpoint. Okay, so, but germane to where I am, because I exist in what's called the Bible Belt in the United States, which happens to be the majority of the southeastern part of the United States of America. So this is where my genetic coding calls home, the southeastern region. All right, and because of that, what's up, Luck? Shout out, Luck. Because of that, we need to address exactly where we are so we can understand what is happening and what is going on in this timeline with us right now. Okay. Now, those that know me, they know me, you know what I'm saying? And those that know me, they already understand, you know, to a degree how I speak about things, the things that I like to talk about, and how I use my mind and what that means for the space that's around me. Okay. We try to always talk with a little bit of, what's the word? to be politically correct. I think they call it to be politically correct. But here, I'm disregarding that. Like, I don't really care about being politically correct. It's just all about if you understand where I'm going, or picking up what I'm putting down. Our people in this region have been deceived for a while, and we're still being deceived to this day. I have a lot of friends that be around me that I talk to, and we talk about all different types of topics. You know what I mean? Because it's important, you know, that we talk about things and get things worked out. So with each other. So in those things, we talk about a lot of spiritual understandings, physical understandings, just things that a lot of times don't reach the southeastern part or the southern part, the southern states where we live. You know what I mean? We, like I said before, we get on YouTube, we can get on all these different avenues now, and we see these spiritual leaders from all these different aspects of the country, and they travel from one side to the other side, to the north, back to the west, back out here, back out there, but they never really come down here to the southeastern part. So as a result of that, for me, it brings up a lot of questions as to why, you know, what's the reasoning behind here? Because it can't be that there's no people down here, because I go outside and see them all the time. So, and this is just one part of the Southeast, you know, so our people are definitely here in great numbers. So why is it not really a popular thing to come to the Southeast? We got to understand these things. So living in the Southeast, I said all that to say this. Living in the Southeast, a lot of us believe in the Christian way. A lot of us live according to the Christian way. Now, recently, we have graduated or come out of the Christian way to adopt the Yoruba lifestyle, which going forward, I can explain to you how it's exactly the same thing. It's not really any different, because they're both doing the same thing. But if you're not understood on these things, then that principle will pass you by. It's both pretty much doing the same exact thing. Now, the reason I'm saying this, and the reason I'm going into that conversation when it comes down to the Bible and things like that, is because these are one of the sensitive topics down here. People don't really like to talk about or discuss religion, discuss politics, things like that, because it's like an understood no-no. Like, you just leave those things alone to keep down drama and war, potentially. People have fought and died over religion. So me being me, it's more so a reason to understand why people would be willing to die with such a thing, and why is it such a no-no to discuss and talk about. And there's reasons for that, okay? First of all, most of us are coming from a Christian lifestyle, so we're based upon the principle of the King James version of things. And, you know, I mean, that's what it is for what it is, okay? So we're predicated to the King James version of things. And it's important to understand who these people were when they were coming along, because it gives more context into why they did certain things that they did, okay? So when we go back into the history of King James, he was a black man, okay? We got to understand this. So King James was a black man, or considered black, considered to be what we call black today. Okay, so he was that type of person. Okay. He was a Hebrew. Now, you go back into, you have to go back and study the history on these people, which is why history is always important, because you can hide a lot, or you can change a lot of things with a miseducation of history and a misunderstanding of where certain people come from. So you can literally hide a person's identity from them by misconstruing history. We know that to be true. We're living that today. So King James was a Hebrew, okay? So when you go into understanding the original text, or the text that certain books and documentations were written off of, you got to understand the languages that they were spoken in. So Hebrew is a language that is as ancient, or if not more ancient, than Latin. And we know how old Latin is based on what we were taught in school, okay? So Hebrew is a language that is archaic. So for a person to understand Hebrew in his time, first of all, there would not have been very many people that understood. You essentially had to be a scholar, or you had to be a royal priest of the Temple of Thoth, Thoth. Okay, and the reason I'm saying that name, we're going to get into it as we continue forward. So in order to study the original text, you had to be a scholar or of a royal priesthood. Okay, now this was according to ancient Kemetic timelines and the Egyptian ways, okay, that you had to be a priest in order to read the text. Okay, so King James appointed 54 scholars. Okay, there were 54 scholars who understood ancient Roman or Greece, the Greece language, and Hebrew. They were able to understand Hebrew. And these 54 scholars are the ones who translated the text into what was put on the printing press, okay? Now, mind you, now I'm giving you a condensed version of history. You can definitely take this and write this down and then go study it for yourself. Like, go look it up for yourself and study and read these things so you can be learned. Also, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video, you know what I'm saying? Because we just having general conversation about some things that we need to discuss. And if you want to donate, then you should see the Cash App or whatever floating or somewhere down there. You can donate if you feel inclined to. But anyway, let's continue. So King James appointed 54 scholars, right? And the scholars were there to write the book in a certain way, okay? Because you have to understand something, that the future was always being brought to the Hebrew. When you understand the history, then you understand that when you speak about the Hebrew people, that you go into the Mayans, the Aztec, the Inca, these people who are prophetic in their time when you go according to historical texts. So the 54 scholars were of a Hebraic or true Hebrew lineage, Hebrew bloodline, during a time when black nobility was a real thing. Inside of the book, there was put a hidden codex. Okay, now what is a codex? Let's go look up the definition. Okay. So I should leave the mic alone. All right, cool. Let's see. Okay, so the codex was the historical ancestor of the modern book. So instead of being composed of sheets of paper, it used sheets of vellum, papyrus, or other materials, okay? So a codex is often used for ancient manuscript books with handwritten contents, okay? So inside of the Bible, there's a hidden codex or a hidden ancient language that's written inside of the Bible for the adept, or those who are able to read it or able to understand it, those with the eyes to see. Okay. Now, I'm saying all that to say this. You had a Hebrew who was the king during the time that this book was written. A Hebrew employed Hebrew scholars to come in and write a certain text, read and break down this text, and then make it into a condensed version of a book, right? Inside of the book, there's a hidden codex for the people in a certain land. Now, how do we know that to be true? Okay. King James ruled several territories during his time. The very first print that came out for the Bible, you have to go back into history, was written to the Jews or the Hebrews of America. So the very first book was written and sent to America. Now, mind you now, this was the very first book that came off of the printing press, or that came off of the printing cycles under the King James era. It was sent to America first. America, where they tell their slaves they can't read. America, where you better not be learning the English language in order to understand. You understand why? You see? Just the same way like they sit here in school and still give us Martin Luther King, his speech that he wrote from jail, so we can continue to decode it in every future generation. We're decoding that message for them to see what Martin Luther King was writing into his people. It's the same exact thing. So you better not read and write, because if you read and write and you get a hold to that Bible for real and you begin to understand it from an English or English written standpoint, to understand the things that are literal and to understand the things that are allegorical, it's going to begin to put you back in the position. How do I say that? Okay, now we begin to get into the meat of what we're talking about tonight, okay? So, first of all, we're in the Bible Belt, okay? That's understood. The very first Bible that was printed was sent to America, okay, for the people of America. Now, you also had an offshoot of that Bible that was a slave Bible. It was written overseas, printed overseas. The original slaves, which we talked about this before, but you have to know who the original slaves were to understand the trick, because the book was originally written for the original slave. And if you don't know who that is, then we'll talk about that later. That's not what this is about tonight. Okay, we'll talk about that later. So, the first verse that we're going to start with is going to be Leviticus 25:9. And if you need to go look this up, then, you know what I'm saying, I'll definitely give you like a couple of minutes to look it up. I'll look it up with you. Hold on. Leviticus 25:9. What? Okay. Now, this is from the King James Version, okay? And I want to read this to you so that when I break it down to you, you can understand, because first of all, when you look in the Bible, and I've talked to a couple of people about this so far, but you have to understand words and what they mean. So when you see the word thou, and you have to use what's the word? When you displace the letters in a word to make it into something else. So when you see thou, you remove the T and then you flip the H upside down, and now you have you. So now we understand that thou means you, just like we learned in church or whatever. Thou means you. You see the word in the word. Remove the T and flip the H upside down. So now thou becomes you. So then shalt you cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month, in the day of atonement shall you make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. Okay. So that Bible verse says that you shall cause the trumpet. Now, most times when you think about a trumpet, we're thinking from a musical instrument, the things that make sound when you blow air into it. That's what comes to mind, because we're trained to think about the word as a literal thing or a physical, tangible thing, instead of understanding when we're being talked about in an allegorical sense. The Bible is a book of many languages at once. And it has to be broken down in many different ways. See, that's why whenever I said last time is that if you ever reach a place when studying and you don't ever come to a place that you don't know anything, then you're not growing. You see what I'm saying? You're not growing. Most Christian people think they know everything that there is to know about the Bible. You can't tell them nothing about the Bible. You can't tell them nothing about God. You can't tell them nothing about heaven, hell. There's nothing you can tell them. So you've reached a place where you're no longer learning. So you can't grow. You understand? So in order to grow, you have to be willing to say that I've reached a dead end. Then you back up on the dead end. This is called a maze. Life is not one line. It's not linear. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be able to retract ourselves in order to move forward and remove things in order to grow taller. Okay, so check it out. So and this is talking about today. So what is then? Remember, there's nothing new under the sun, and what we're reading is a prophetic book. So it's speaking about the language of what's happening in today. Okay. Now, there's a reason I picked this verse, Leviticus 25:9, because it's talking about what's going to happen in the time of the Jubilee period. Okay. So the Jubilee period, the most recent Jubilee period that we had for the Hebrews would have been the year of 2017 and 2018. Okay. During that time, there was a shift in the way we were thinking, in the way we were beginning to move as a people, and the dynamic of what was happening. Remember, we had a depression in 2018. Okay. The way we were beginning to move as a people was beginning to take on a different dynamic and a different form. Okay. So we have to go back and study those years to understand that. However, there was something that was really significant that happened in 2018. And in 2018, we had the inauguration of Donald Trump. Okay, now listen very carefully to this, okay, because it's going to make sense. You pay attention with me. So, then thou shalt cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound. Now, trumpet was that word that we were talking about. In 2017, 2018, we had the inauguration of Donald Trump, and his vice president was Pence. So if you put Trump and Pence together, you're going to get Trump Pence come in at the section of the Jubilee, at the year of the Jubilee. How do we know that it's the year of the Jubilee? So the Jubilee is to sound on the 10th day, or year 10, okay, 10 and the 7th month, which is also year 7. So 10 and 7 is what? 17, right? In the Day of Atonement, okay? Now, what does atonement mean? Because all of this plays together. All of this plays into itself numerically through the arts. And arts is more than just drawing on a paper, writing in a book, or singing on a microphone. It's more to art than that. Okay, so we're going to talk about all of this. I just want to give you all the context. So on the 10th day, which is 10, okay, of the 7th month, which is 7, so the year of 17, which is 17 and 18, and the Day of Atonement, which is during the years of the Jubilee, 17 and 18, during the years of the Jubilee, in the Day of Atonement shall ye make the Trump Pence sound throughout all your land. In 17 and 18 was the campaign and the inauguration of Donald Trump. It was sound out through all the land, and his vice president was Pence. So there is the Trump Pence that has been sounded throughout the land. Now, what does atonement mean? This is important because atonement means a reparation. Say this again. Atonement is a reparation for injury. Okay. Now, Oscar or Luke, whatever you know me as, this is what we're saying. So how is all this tying together? What does this mean? Okay. So for atonement, you have to make right what has been done wrong. Reparations for injuries. Okay. The Jubilee, on the day or the year of the Jubilee, there was a sound of a Trump Pence. So now you have Trump and Pence coming into office during the year of Jubilee. Okay, for the Hebrew, which is who the Bible was written for in the first place. Okay, it's written about the Hebrew in America. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. So this Jubilee period is for the Hebrew in America. Those that have been disenfranchised away from what was rightfully theirs in America. Okay. Now, if you're still thinking you're an African American and you're still thinking that somehow your people transmigrated over here from Africa, then this message won't make sense to you. It doesn't apply to you. I suggest you go back to the drawing board and start over, because you still won't understand. You won't get it. But if you're understood that when you say I have Indian in my family, that The Indian in your family is you. It ain't because of no mixture in. It's because it's you 100% at the baseline root. That's always who you've been, never anybody else. Then you follow along with me, because then if you know that you're the Indian, then you know the Indians were the Hebrews. And you know that Egypt, like we talked about before, is out west. That place that has been turned into a potential desert where the Grand Canyon stands and all of these different deserts that are now out there in those places. You know where you are. You understand where you are now, according to ancient history. Okay, then we continue forward. So the Trump-Pence is going to sound in the year of Jubilee. Okay, and that is going to be on the 10th day, which is 10, and the 7th month, which is 7. So 10 and 7 is 17. 17 marks the beginning of the Jubilee for the atonement. How do we know this is correct? Okay, give me just a second here. Let me make this plain for y'all. Okay, now mind you, now we did hear about that word, what? Atonement, which is a reparation for that which has been done wrong. Okay, or potential slavery of the Hebrew in America. Let's make it make sense. Okay, so now February 28th, 2017. Let's get all this going. President Trump signed House Resolution 40. Most of us didn't even hear about this, okay? House Resolution 40, the title of that resolution is this: the Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposals for African Americans Act. I'm going to read that again. The Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposals for African Americans Act. That was February 28th, 2017. Okay, that was signed into Congress. Now, this is what's called atonement, reparation for injury. Okay. Now we have to understand that I'm not saying that, Donald Trump, this good man, and you should worship him and worship ground he walk on. No. But it's about understanding the prophecy that surrounds our people, and that God will use whoever is right for the job, not somebody that's out going to go talking about I'm finna go get baptized and all this other type of crap that they put in your face publicly and do all this extra mess. It's not that, because Negroes have been deceiving other Negroes through Christianity for years. This is not new. We've been doing this junk to each other, going to theology school to learn how to mislead other black people. So the reality is that then when it comes online for the savior of those people, you're the first ones to talk against that. How is that a possibility? Well, how many of y'all remember Mark Robinson? Mark Robinson was a politician for Colorado, and when he was coming up in his campaign, this is a black man. You go look him up. He was talking about how reparations was needed to be given to our people. He was an advocate for reparations, bringing us back to a level playing field so that we can build this world again how we need it to be, and this, that, and third. Soon as he got abducted into the bourgeois or into upper echelon politics, he changed to where now black people, you don't need to get reparations. You owe money. You owe, because of those people who died that came before you and all this. So now black people, you owe. These are the monsters that we keep putting in office. And these people keep misrepresenting us because they're working against the prophecies that are right here in our face that we sitting here studying. They're working actively against those prophecies. Okay. Now I'm in Pensacola, Florida, and I see politicians working actively against the chosen people. Now today, it's a reality. This is what happens where God's people, or the people of Thoth, Thoth, Hebrew is Egypt. You have to understand. So the Egyptian tech, the emerald tablets of Thoth, the Gnostic tablets, and all these things like this, you have to understand these things because these predate your Bible. They predate So those texts are more original or close to the origin than what you're reading in a biblical sense. That's why I have to put a codex in it, so that those that are able to read it can read it to gain understanding, and then you can navigate your way back to what's real. You see, in the book of Eli, they said the Bible is not a book, it's a weapon. It's a weapon. In the wrong, right hands, it can be used against the people of God. But in the right hands, it can be used to steer God's people back to back on track. It's a weapon. So now we're taking and looking at this weapon, because no weapon formed against me shall prosper. So the weapon has to transform, you see? And so now we have to begin to understand what's really coming out of this thing that has been used against us as a weapon. We have to understand. So when you look into here and House Resolution 40, go look it up. That's why I keep repeating it. You know what I'm saying? And read it. It's a commission to study and develop reparation proposals. Okay? So what was the closest thing that we say could be considered a reparation that came to us under Trump? The stimulus package. There was so much money in that bill that they still giving it away. They don't even know how or where to take it to. They're giving these Mexican refugees that come over here, they're giving them hundreds of thousands of dollars to relocate and do all this stuff, because the money that they took from that bill, remember now, they was trying to pass this money all over the world. And Trump was like, no, stop. What are you doing? You know, because it was not for anybody else other than African American people in this country. That's who it was for. Then your enemy caught wind of it, you see? So when Trump made a campaign visit to Pensacola, do you see why they was fighting so hard to keep you out, to keep you away? You see, just because they don't want you there don't mean you don't belong in there. You understand? It's time that we realize who we are in this country and what is going on around us. If we don't understand who we are in this landmass, what's going on around us won't make any sense. It won't make sense. So look at things again, because the Most High is putting instances in our path for us to grow, for us to learn from and utilize. And we are stomping on that along with our enemy. The enemy come along and say, oh, no, we don't want them in there. Oh, no. Get Trump out. Get Trump out. Why? Because they caught wind of what he was doing. What he was really trying to do was set our people free. You see what I'm saying? It's a businessman. He's a businessman. It's business. It stops being about control and manipulation and coercion when you're paying for your own, campaign, and you don't need to take no money from nobody. How many people remember when Dave Chappelle came? Dave Chappelle did he did like a comedy short. This is the new Dave Chappelle, not the old one, the new one, after he came back from Africa or whatever. So he was on there and he was talking about Donald Trump. And he was talking about the campaign that Donald Trump did when Donald Trump was, screaming out about the whole system being rigged and this, that, and the third. And Hillary and Barack Obama was sitting over there. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama was sitting over there, and they was like, no, it isn't. And he was like, yeah, it is rigged. Donald Trump said, yes, it is rigged because I use it. And they know it's rigged because the people that support them, he's talking about Hillary and Barack Obama, they use it too. Okay. And so after that, everybody was kind of like looking at Hillary and, Obama like, okay, so what you got to say about that? So Hillary came back and was like, well, he doesn't pay his taxes. And Donald Trump said, well, that makes me smart. If I'm not paying my taxes, that makes me smart. Let that soak. And then he said, if you want me to pay my taxes, if you're so worried about me paying my taxes, then change the tax codes. But you won't do that because everybody that you support and that supports you are benefiting from those same tax codes. They don't pay their taxes either. You understand? And to not pay your taxes makes you smart. Okay? Now, this is the same person that everybody calling a fool, this, that, and the third. He's speaking out the side of his neck, but he was only ever talking the truth. about what's going on in this country. Okay? So, let's see. The first Bible printed was sent to America only as a history of awareness of the original people. Okay, so now, because we're in this world space, or being on this land with 10 toes down makes us a part of the telestial environment. However, and telestial, because I want y'all to look this stuff up. So I'm going to spell it. So Telestial. Matter of fact, I'll give y'all the definition. Hold on. Celestial. Okay, so telestial. Telestial means of or pertaining to the lowest degree of glory. I'll repeat that. Of or pertaining to the lowest degree of glory. So it's almost like, yeah, you won the Olympics, but you only came in third place. So you got the lowest degree of glory. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's good and all, but it's not the best. Okay, so telestial. Telestial is the third dimension. Okay, that is the lowest degree of glory that we can attain. Okay, so those of you out here that only seek to gain materialistic things, you misunderstand. That is not the highest degree of glory that you can attain, is to be a master of this land. That's the lowest degree of glory that you can attain. Okay, now, after being telestial, you go into being what's called terrestrial. Okay, terrestrial. Let's go here. Terrestrial. Hold on. Trio. Definition. Okay, that is of or relating to the earth or its inhabitants, living or growing on land or on or in the ground, not aquatic, arboreal, or epiphytic. Okay, so if you're living, of or relating to the earth or its inhabitants, okay, would be considered to be terrestrial, or the space where the spirit meets the matter. Okay, this is called the spirit world. That's what we call it, the fourth dimension. Okay, so in the spirit world is where the prima materia or matter meets energy. Is where these things combine together, okay, to spark consciousness and physical things, or to go from a conscious reality and meditate your way back into a spiritual understanding. This is the connection space. So that's called terrestrial, okay, the environment of living things. Okay, that's the fourth dimension. So when we go into meditation, we go into astral projection. When we go into these different spaces of mind, when you have to use the pineal gland to go into these spaces that you're connected to, you're only in the terrestrial space or the subconscious mind. Okay. Now, even higher would be considered celestial. Okay. So we're looking up all of these definitions so we can understand. Okay. To be celestial is of or relating to the sky or physical universe as understood in astronomy. Okay, now that would actually be the last definition I would give it. The first definition I would give it would be number 3, supremely good or sublime. Number 2, of or relating to heaven or divine, to be celestial. Okay, now if you have your, I feel like a preacher on Sunday morning like type shit. If you got your Bible with you, turn to 1 Thessalonians 5, 4, and 5. And I'm gonna look it up right here on my phone. Hold on. 1 Thessalonians 5. Hold up. 5, 4 through 5. Okay. I don't want to give it to me in King James Version. Someone told me to bring a Bible up here. KJV. This just don't want to act right. Hold on. KJV. Okay, here we go. So now, thinking about what I just told y'all about celestial, terrestrial, and telestial, okay? So this is how you break this down, okay? Now, mind you, we're still looking in the same Bible, okay? It's the King James Version. And I'm telling you that it's allegorical, so it's like a play on words. If you understand, it's for the initiate. And what an initiate is that which has been spiritually called and chosen to be one who can see or who can navigate through different realities while standing 10 toes down. Okay, for the initiate or the awoken of mind, then you'll be able to see that which is right in front of your face or that which is hidden from plain everyday sight. Okay. So let's go. So verse 4. Verse 4 says, "But ye brethren are not in darkness." Okay. So the darkness is the telestial. That is the man that is, his mind is stuck in the 3D world. You understand? That is a telestial man. So it says here, 4, "But ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake ye as a thief." Okay. You're not creatures of the dark world, which means you're not creatures or inhabitants to strictly the third dimensional reality. There are some creatures who are stuck to this reality. They cannot advance any further past this reality. We're going to talk about that in the future as well, because that's meant to be understood. Then you'll understand how certain beings can navigate finance and this and that, all a part of this reality, but outside of this reality, they have no basis. So let's keep going. So you are not born in the darkness. You are not telestial beings, okay, that you should be overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light. Okay, now where's the light? You are all 5D and beyond, the sun, the environment of light beings. Okay, celestial. So verse 5, you are all children of the celestial realm. 5D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Arm, leg, arm, head. That's 5. The 5th dimension. Look at your systems in your body. You're from the 5th dimension and beyond. So ye are the children of the light, the celestial world, the world of the angels and the higher frequencies. Okay. And the children of the day. The children of the day are the terrestrial beings, which means you are also children that have connected your consciousness with the physical world. That's the 4th dimension. So that makes you children of light, celestial, and children of the day, telestial. You are not children of the darkness and the moon, which is, I'm sorry, let me take that back. So you're celestial and terrestrial. Celestial is the light being. Terrestrial is the life that moves around on the planet. Then you have telestial, stuck to the physical. You cannot go any further past the 3rd dimension. Children of the darkness and of the moon. You understand? You are not those creatures. So as a result, these words, as they come forward through this biblical codex, are supposed to take on a different meaning for your people in this hour. The further we advance, we've gone from a place of having all the consciousness. We've been devolved into no consciousness. Now we're starting to evolve again into higher elevated consciousness. You see, it's an ebb and a flow. So this is speaking about the future time, telling you who you are. Now, when you go into understanding the children of the light and the children of the telestial world, then you're going to understand that it's a description of the Hebrews of the Bible. Because once you go back far enough, you go past the Hebraic understanding, then you start getting into Atlantis. You understand? Then you start getting into Turtle Island and Tamari, All of these things are descendants of our people. These are conversations of our people in previous times before the genocide. And we need to understand this, because then we'll understand the world that's coming back online. Okay? Now, so when we're talking about this same Bible, we need to understand what's being omitted and what's being left out on purpose. So who God is in the Bible is left out, because if the name of who the Lord is in the Bible was put in there, then it would be a key indicator on where exactly you should go look. See, the reason why a lot of information was hidden is so that your enemy won't be able to deceive you when you go looking for it, if that makes sense. For the initiate, your enemy has done a great deal of work to keep you suppressed and misunderstood on exactly who you are and what's going on around you on purpose. You know what I'm saying? There's been a great deal of money spent on propaganda, on commercials, on different television shows, on the way movies are portrayed to you when they're giving you a certain actor and telling you the truth, but making them have black hair with black clothes. Like, all of these things are rituals used to keep your people, or keep my people, misunderstood on what's going on around them. Okay? So certain direct names and direct ideas won't be put into the text. It won't be put in there, because then it gives your enemy direct line of sight on exactly how to keep you away from that information. See, you're supposed to seek and find. And once you find it, then it begins to unfold your world in a whole nother way. So inside of the Bible, the God of the Bible is Thoth, Thoth. Go do your own research, study the the ancient Hebrew text. Then from there, go into the Emerald tablets, study the Gnostic text. Then you begin to gain understanding on why these things were hidden from you. Okay. So inside of the Bible that was written, predicated around this deity, Thoth was very, very specific on where the power of God came through, because Thoth wasn't the God. He was the Lord of the land. You understand? The Lord of the universe, of this universal plane. So because given the power of being the Lord of this universe, now that means that on high, there is a higher power than that being. Does that make sense? So when the Bible says in there that I am a jealous God, this is that and third, it's Thoth talking about himself, because he's the Lord of the universe. So you should have no graven images or none of that stuff up other than myself, because I am the creator of this universe. I run this universe. Okay? These are not my words. This is in the Egyptian text. This is what the languages that our physical, daily, or everyday Bible was written from for the future. Okay? So these things were omitted on purpose to confuse. When you have confusion, gray area, you can supplant gray area with whatever information you want to put in there. That's why we go to school when we have the most gray area as children. We go to school and we get indoctrinated. You understand? So we need to understand what's going on around us so we can start to flow a little different, move a little better. Okay? So there's a higher power that is on high. So what we have here is this. You have your heartbeat. Remember we talked about it last time. You got your heartbeat. Then your heartbeat is in alignment with the heartbeat of the earth or the planet. Okay? What's supposed to be. That's why you should be outside grounding, putting your feet in the grass, in the soil, and just because it's essential for your heartbeat. When you have rubber on the bottom of your shoe, it disrupts the flow of energy from the earth to your heart. So your heartbeat becomes irregular, or what they call it, palpitation, heart palpitation or whatever, because it's trying to find the rhythm. So grounding is important. Anyway, so from the heartbeat of the earth, you go into the heartbeat of the solar system, which is the 9 planets cycling around the sun, right? Which is going through the heartbeat of the sun. The heartbeat of the sun goes through the center, or the heartbeat of the galaxy, or the galaxy. From the galaxy to the universe, from the universe to the multiverse, from the multiverse, so on. So that is the most high frequency that we can be on, because that frequency goes through the center of all things. Okay. That's why it's important to get in tune with the floor of the earth. See, people used to make fun of certain things, but they didn't understand why. See, a tree holds, first of all, the roots of a tree go directly into the ground. So the heartbeat of the earth stimulates the tree roots directly. So when you hug a tree, they call them tree huggers. When you hug a tree, it would literally put your heart on the same frequency as the planet. See, that's why that was a thing. But people started making fun of it. You know what I'm saying? So we got away from that idea. But that's why that was a whole thing. There was an actual science behind that. People being healed by hugging trees. You know? So, I'm saying all that to say that Thoth is not the most high God. Thoth is the God of this universe. Okay? Is the supreme being of this universe. Okay? And that needs to be understood and recognized so that we can understand going forward why Thoth spoke so much about the language of the true and living God. The highest power that God gave us is the arts. So when you go in there and you go in that Bible and it says thou or you art is talking to you directly. Through your arts, you can see. Through your arts, God can heal you. Through your arts, God can change your life through the art. Look at how the world changes based on who the mainstream artist is in a given time. Look at the world when there was Michael Jackson. Okay. Look at the world when there was how Madonna shifted the world. Now look at the world now that we have Nicki Minaj. Look how the art is shifting the world. It's through the arts that the language of God is going to be spoken. It's always through the arts. It's through the art. Okay. And there is no other way to shift the world at the greatest degree than through the art. Art is also propaganda. It is also media. It is also commercials and TV, because you put that thing in front of people, that giant black screen or a scrying mirror, in order to reach. That was the best way to reach millions of people in a time where mass communication was not a thing. How do you reach all these people at once? You give everybody a scrying mirror. You put a generalized message through the scrying mirror. Look at us now. How do we take on the predication of reaching a whole bunch of people at one time? We get on social media, and social media is running to us through a little black screen. It's through a scrying mirror. So essentially, we're using witchcraft to talk to the world. Now, all you Christians out there that get online and do all your social media services, and you're going through a camera and you showing people stuff through TV and through their cell phone and this, that, and third, you're using the same system that you call witchcraft. It's the same exact thing. It's a scrying mirror. Witches use scrying mirrors. That's how they talk to the spirit world. You understand? You see how all this is flowing together? Now, we need to understand where we are and how we're standing here in this world so that we can begin to take our power back. You see, we think we're doing it because we're following other groups of people into our own demise, as we were doing before. Look at Christianity, for instance. Oh, I was told to stop touching the mic. Look at Christianity, for instance. We follow Christianity. Even to this day, we still follow Christianity. But only a few people rise. Other people get the option to come there and feel good for a little while, and then they got to go right back out into the world and still face the same exact demons that they was facing when they walked in the door. It's the same exact thing. There is no safety. The church can get shut down just like your house can get foreclosed on. So it's telling you that the house of God, or that worship space of God, has been infiltrated by the system that is set to steal, kill, and destroy, because it's doing it. You understand? You're not learning anything there. This is literally about paying the banks to keep the doors open. Okay? Under 501c3s. There are rules that go with those contracts. There are things you can't talk about, things you can't teach into. You know what I'm saying? Certain ways that you can't handle the community. You can't allow them to grow in certain ways. It's a 501c3. It's being ran by the enemy. And we run there thinking that that's the salvation. Okay, so we decided to leave that. Then look where we turn around and go. We go running into the year of a practice. And we think that's meant to be a means of salvation. Do you understand the corruption that goes on behind the scenes in the Yoruba world? If you don't know, then it's only because you ain't been made privy to it yet. But it's reality. This is a reality that's unspoken. So it's made to look holy, but then you turn on the tube and you turn on YouTube or whatever, and you take yourself over to Africa. There's only certain places that are developed enough for you to be in and have somewhat safety. You understand? Most of that country is still living in a third world process. Or excuse me, most of that continent is still living from a third world process. So how can that be the motherland when the majority of it is still in the third world? What motherland is that? What are you teaching the people? What have the people learned from you if you're still living in a third world way? You're still living according to ancient customs and ancient ways of living, ancient ways of building a house. Who did you learn those ancient techniques from? Because that's ancient. So where'd you learn that from? And why haven't you upgraded since then, unless you're upgrading according to a standard that was set by the West? You're not the motherland to nothing. That ain't no motherland. You're not teaching nobody. You're taking from the world, from the West. It's time to give back what has been stolen. That's the issue. That's why the world is eroding around us, because they refuse to give it back. You see that the gig is up. By 2042, there's going to be parts of this country that's going to be returned back to our people. And I'm going to tell you what those parts of the country are. Florida, this is where it's going to start at. It's going to start in Florida. Florida, North and South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. By 2042, we're not going to be the only ones living in this region, but we're going to be in control of this region. This is prophecy. It's numeric prophecies. It's the arts. Okay. And next time we'll sit here and break down the numbers so you can understand exactly what I'm saying when it comes to Donald Trump, to Biden, to Trump having the holding the years that he held, because during the years of Biden, Trump numerically, from a numerology standpoint, Trump was not supposed to have anything significant going on while during the years that Biden was in office. We're going to break all this down. You understand? He's meant to come back into office. This is why they're fighting so hard to keep him out. They're trying to lock him up because according to the prophecy, he's supposed to come back. And when he comes back, then you're going to see what was being set in motion the whole time. It's all about releasing these people from the mental, spiritual, and physical slavery, giving them the opportunity to walk out of that. And if they don't, if they still continue to choose to be an African American, or they sit up here and they recontract themselves into slavery by means of their birth certificate and their social security card, they haven't taken back control of that. Or if they go down here and go get a vaccine and let them put those nanobots in them, which takes the control and the power away from you, your physical body. You know, once you get that shot, that you're no longer considered a human being anymore. You're not a human, you're an android. Once you take that, you've just turned yourself into an android. So essentially, you're the property of whoever juice you took. Your body is now their property because you got their product inside of you. So you're an android. You're not a human anymore. We don't understand what's going on around us. So when these things come forward, it may seem like it's far-fetched, or it's like a conspiracy theory, but then that just simply means that you're still asleep and you don't understand who your enemy is. You think just because we're not in an active gun-drawn warfare in the streets and military driving around everywhere with tanks, that we're not in a war. We're in a war as we speak. And it's a war against the eradication of our people. It's about the eradication of our people. But here's the trick. We have to choose it. We have to choose to be eradicated. We have to choose. Or a new group, a new foreign entity can come complete the genocide. But it all has to be based on what we choose. Time is interesting. Very interesting. Actually stopping right on time. So I want y'all to take this. We're going to start right there. I want y'all to take this. Take that information. Okay? Listen to this again. And then go study for yourself and come back, because we're going to continue to keep breaking these things down. The arts. That Bible says, for where art thou, Adam? Where is your art? Why did you fail? Because you put down the arts. All this music we listening to now, everybody rapping the same. These niggas sound the same. That's the exact same person every time they open their mouth. That's not art. That's not art. Art is hip hop. Art is a mashup of different creative styles coming together. That's art. These fools is saying the same exact stuff on different beats in a different way. It's the same exact message over and over and over and over and over, and they call that art. That's not art. That's not art. That's BS. That's propaganda. You understand? That's how you manipulate. Do you know that now most record labels now, they don't even look at artists they're not looking to sign artists anymore. You've been played out of your position. We're being played out of our position. They're not even looking to sign rap artists and hip hop artists like that, because it's the same cookie cutter. Everybody's trying to be Lil Baby. Everybody trying to be this one. Everybody trying to be that one. So there's no variation. So that's not art. Art is variation. Art is chaos. It's not all the same. You know what I'm saying? We don't even understand the way our enemy move around us. Now they're not picking up hip hop artists and rap artists no more. Why? Because your enemy is coming to take it over. Who has been in the top 3 for the past 10 years when it comes down to billboards and this, that, and the third? Eminem. Eminem has been at the top of the chart for the past how many years? Now he's scheduled to become a hip hop mogul. You don't understand the movements of your enemy. You don't understand the tactics of your enemy and how these things move around us, because we socially accept everything. So our enemy is presenting to us things that we keep accepting, and we keep accepting it. Then it becomes a normal way of life. You understand? Talking about gay marriage. Do you think our grandparents, great-grandparents would have supported Obama talking about a gay marriage? Be honest. Let's be honest. We gotta be honest about it. That would not have been, no way he would have been leading nothing talking about no gay marriage. We don't ride for that, because they would have been the same people to point out to you in the Bible where it says that that's an abomination, this, that, and the third, XYZ. You're not finna come, you ain't no way you ain't finna sit in the office over me talking about that's the way the world was. And this is only a few years ago. And now we've quickly forgotten that, to the point that now anything is okay. And now we're choosing to allow these enemies to create Sodom and Gomorrah right under our feet. So we're no longer being looked at as a holy people. Holy doesn't mean, oh, I'm good. You feel me? I'm wearing a white suit, or I only speak like this and I don't use certain words, or I'm getting baptized so everybody can see me, and all this other type of stuff like that we be doing. It's not that. That's not what holy is. That's not holy. Holy means to be set apart. Holy means that you're going to be different than other people around you. You have to be prepared for the battle because you're holy. So you're different than them. They're going to be looking at you as if you're something bad, but the whole time you're good because you're holy. They're the ones that's toxic and evil, but they can't see it. Just like this, Jesus Christ was walking around in his time. All the people was doing the same thing. They was going to the temple. They was doing the certain rituals of that day according to the Pharisees, right? But they were all toxic. Jesus was holy. He was set apart. He was different. So now when they came in to challenge those people, guess what those people did? They fought against him. They wanted him killed because he was holy and they weren't. You see? But I guarantee you in his time, those same people was ridiculing him for what they didn't understand or what exposed them to what they really truly were. It's a demon. It's a demon energy. And we have to understand these things. But you can't begin to understand these things unless you realize and understand first who you are and what it is that we're releasing to other nations to act like they're you. Don't nobody know what to say unless you create it. Don't nobody know the dance moves unless you make them up. Don't nobody know how to do this or how to live life or how to dress or how to do it until you come up with it. And now they talking about a BRICS dollar, $55 for one American dollar. Why is that? Because our people have, we've taken ourselves to a place of no value. We have to copy each other just to know how to, just to be an artist. We got to sit up here and copy. Look at the music now. They taking music from the 90s, late 80s and the 90s and trying to create it by putting it on a beat. And then they say something else to the same music. Like, man, you have no originality. There's no creativity. There's none. They think that's creative. Letting somebody else sing your whole song, you put a few phrases on there, and now you blowing up off of that. But really, what it is SWV really just sang that song and put you on the map. That's just no creativity. It's really no talent. None. So the arts are not with you, because you would be speaking to your people about liberation and freedom if the arts were with you. The arts are not with you. So therefore, God is not walking with that. And you see what it is, no value. The value is gone because God is not walking with that. The money follows the energy. See, we're deceived, and we keep being deceived over and over and over. So now what's going to happen? This next inauguration or next thing, they're going to be so amped up against Trump because Trump is here to set you free. He's supposed to give it back to you. It's a prophecy. Go pick up the Underground Adventures of Baron von Trump. It was written in 17 something, I think. Let me see. I'll just look it up for you right quick. Hold up. And then I'll be out. But this book, go see if you can find this book online first. But if you can't find it online, then buy it because it's on Amazon. Hold on. The Marvelous Baron. Okay, here we go. Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey. Okay. So you want to get that book and 1900 or The Last President. These books were written by Ingersoll Lockwood. Okay. Now that Baron von Trump book was written in the 1890s. And when you read it, it talks about the underground journeys of Baron von Trump. Now, notice Trump's son is named Baron. Okay. All of these things coincide. And it's talking about the Trump family and how he had to go through the underground worlds to meet indigenous people in order to understand what was really going on in the world around him. I suggest you all go pick that book up and read it because it gives you a lot of insight into what's going on right now. Okay. Prophecy is future understanding in the present moment. It's called prophecy. And we've had a lot of prophecy or prophetic understanding around this time. You have Revelations. You have books like what I'm giving you from certain other people have read. You have the Bible. Like all of these things are giving you certain prophecies that only the adept can understand. Adept does not mean that you are a master of Christianity or a master theologian or whatever. That's not an adept. An adept is called. Many are called, or an adept is chosen, because many are called and few are chosen. The adepts are chosen to be able to see what's going on in the world around them. When they step forward to give you information, like myself, like others, I honestly implore you to listen with earnest, because your enemy is making leaps and bounds to cut you off at the pass. See, we are in a paradigm shift in the current space. This world, we're supposed to take the things that are good in this current space and shift them over into a new space to add more good to that space so that we can continue to keep elevation going. You understand? We're in a paradigm shift. That's why things are so much calamity is going on around us. Things are appearing good this way, but then you turn this way and things are bad. Then things are good over there, then things are bad over here. The world is in a balance. It's going through a wormhole. Okay? The black sun is on the inside burning us from within like a furnace. Then you have the two suns in the sky. Okay? It's a triangle. The Bermuda Triangle. We're going through a dimension, a portal, and we're supposed to be elevating and upgrading in order to be able to see using the pineal gland or the entryway into the subconscious mind. I know that was a lot, but this is the reality of where we are. And until we can understand that reality, we can't grow. You see? We can't grow. So I implore you to understand, go back 4 generations in your family and figure out who your people are. There's no Africans. Very few people are going to go back 4 generations. Very few melanated people are going to go back 4 generations and find Africans. Okay? I want y'all to understand this. It's only a very few that's going to go back 4 generations and find Africans. Okay? You got to understand that. Your last names are not European. They're not. Europeans didn't even have, they came over here with no last names. They didn't even have last names. They didn't know anything about that. That's a civilized understanding. That's a civilized standard to have a last name or a family name or a tribal name. That's not, Europeans didn't carry those things. You have to understand the history that was adopted when they got here to learn these things from us. You understand? That was not a thing. So we have to understand where we're coming from and where we're being lied to in the hijack and how we're constantly being fed this hijack so that we can dodge and escape the hijack. Then we move on into a new paradigm of understanding. So anyway, I'm going to digress for now, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Asha is going to, last week we had the issues or whatever, so we haven't spoken in a few days. But, you know what I'm saying, we'll make space for her to come in again, and we'll build a show around that. But this is very important. I suggest you guys go back and start this over. Listen to this again. Share, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Share with your friends and family. And really talk about these things in your life. And bring these topics up to your family members and make them give you the information. You know what I'm saying? Because certain family members know certain things about other family members. So make them give you the information, because after a while that information is going to disappear. That's what the school system is setting out to do now. Our libraries, it's really a mess. They are in a scramble to keep us from understanding what is real. You see, that's why they want to remove all African American. That's why they want to tear down these statues, because they don't want our children to understand exactly what happened. You see, now mind you, now the CIA just had to release a whole bunch of documentation. They had to have a public declassification website. They didn't broadcast that nowhere. No, you're not supposed to know, because they want to open it up like they're supposed to, and then after the statute of limitations or a certain amount of time that they have to keep it open, then they're going to close it back again, just like normal, and you would have never known it existed. Matter of fact, I'll get the website and I'll bring it on here for next time so y'all can know. I'll give it to you so you can go look for yourself, because there's hundreds of thousands of documents that were classified documents because they did not want us to know what is going on around us. It's a game. It's a trick. We've been tricked. And for some reason, we won't take the fact that we've been tricked with as much gravity as we hold on to Yoruba. We don't understand. So now the Africans are also playing the same trick on us as the European. They're the same people. It's the same people. We don't understand. Look how quick are you to go stand beside your own people? If I say my people that's over there in Christianity, my people over there in Europe, come stand by me. Let's see how long that takes. You understand? Come stand with me, because the understanding of who we are needs to come from us, not from some other place, some other nation of people. It needs to come from us, because then that way you can go home and teach your children something that's real. And now they got real solid land to stand on that they actually belong to. Where is Africa, America? Where is that? Where is the land of black? Where is that? There is no land. Everybody else got a name that's predicated to a landmass that they can go attach themselves to. A Thai person is from Thailand. You go to Thailand, right? A Vietnamese person is from Vietnam. They go to Vietnam. Chinese, Indian, Mongolian, whatever you want to call it. French, Spanish. You get over here and we black. Where's that? Okay. So anyway, I'm out. If you got any questions or anything, you can hit my inbox. You can also shoot me an email or whatever. And yeah, I think that's all the announcements I got for now. Y'all have a good night. All right. I'll be back next week. Peace.